In the world overflowing with noise, distractions, and emotional turbulence, the ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers a clear, unwavering path. At the heart of this philosophy lies a simple but profound truth. We control nothing outside of ourselves. Not the actions of others, not the outcomes of events, and certainly not the unpredictable tides of life. The only domain we truly govern is our own mind, our thoughts, our decisions, our actions. This radical acceptance doesn't lead to passivity, quite the opposite. It demands that we become warriors of the soul, men who anchor their lives not in what the world throws at them, but in how they choose to respond. This is why the Stoic strives not to bend the world to his will, but to master the world within. Emotions like anger, fear, envy, and lust. These are not random storms of the heart, but reactions born from distorted beliefs. The Stoic sees them for what they are, illusions, fed by irrational judgments about what is good or bad. The way out? Rigorous self-examination. We challenge those beliefs, we correct them, and in doing so, we reclaim our peace of mind. Among the many areas where Stoicism offers clarity and strength, one stands out sharply for men: our relationship with women. The Stoics never condemned love or connection. They advocated treating all human beings with justice, kindness, and dignity, regardless of gender, status, or background. But they also issued a timeless warning: sexual desire, if left unchecked, can become a master that enslaves rather than liberates. Thus, we must approach it with caution, awareness, and discipline. In this video, we explore a controversial but powerful idea drawn from Stoic thinking: what a man must always keep hidden from a woman. At first glance, it may sound harsh, outdated, or even sexist, but that's not the case. What you're about to learn is rooted in the Stoic pursuit of self-mastery, the noble discipline of guarding one's inner fortress. Some things are not meant to be displayed, not because they're shameful, but because true strength often lies in discretion. So what are these hidden truths? What are the things a Stoic man should hold close, guarded not by fear, but by wisdom? His weaknesses. The Stoic man walks through the fire of life with calm resolve. He does not parade his pain nor beg for sympathy. To him, weakness is not something to broadcast, it is something to wrestle with privately and powerfully. It's not about pretending to be invincible. It's about building resilience from within, where no one else sees. He endures quietly. He strengthens silently. And he knows that true character isn't proven when things are easy, it's revealed in how he stands during the storm. While the world may see silence as repression, the Stoic understands it as a conscious act of inner strength. His trials are not for performance. His struggles are his crucible. In love, this becomes even more vital. A Stoic man does not lay his emotional burdens on a partner's shoulders, not because he lacks trust, but because he honors the sacred weight of self-responsibility. He understands that exposing every wound can sometimes corrode respect, even if unintentionally. And so he chooses to carry some of that weight alone with grace, not resentment. Weakness to him is not a curse. It's the raw material for transformation. Every flaw is an invitation to rise. Every scar, a chapter in the story of becoming. His mistakes. To err is human, but to grow from those errors, that is the path of wisdom. A Stoic man does not hide from his mistakes, but he also does not wear them like medals of martyrdom. He reflects, corrects, and moves forward. Not every mistake needs to be confessed to the world, and certainly not to a woman, especially if doing so serves only the ego or invites unnecessary judgment. This isn't deceit, it's discernment. The Stoic believes that mistakes are sacred teachers. They're moments of awakening, not public spectacle. He learns privately so he can live better publicly. He does not blame others. He does not wallow in guilt. He owns his missteps with quiet dignity and transforms them into wisdom. That's the Stoic way, to look inward with honesty, to act outwardly with virtue. As Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters." A man's mistakes do not define him, his response to them does. In the Stoic worldview, a man's mistakes are not black marks on his soul, they are brushes that paint the canvas of character. He does not dwell on them, nor does he hide them in fear. Instead, he transforms them into fuel. Humility guides him, reflection refines him, and responsibility defines him. His goal is not perfection, it is evolution. And through that quiet discipline, he becomes a man forged by fire, not broken by it. Number 3, his dreams. A man's dreams are sacred. They are whispers from the deepest part of his soul, calling him to rise beyond the ordinary. But in the Stoics' eyes, dreams are not meant to be shouted from rooftops or romanticized for applause. They are to be lived, not performed. To the Stoic man, dreams are not fantasies. They are purposeful ambitions rooted in reality. He doesn't get lost in illusions. He doesn't chase castles in the sky. Instead, he plants his feet firmly on the ground, eyes fixed on what matters, working silently, diligently, toward what aligns with his values. When it comes to sharing those dreams, especially with a woman, he treads carefully, not because he lacks trust, but because he understands a timeless truth. Dreams are vulnerable things. Sharing them too freely can dilute their power or open them to misunderstanding, judgment, or even unintended ridicule. The Stoic avoids the trap of turning dreams into performances for validation. He does not need applause to know his path is worthy. His ambition is internal. It is not driven by ego or the desire to impress a partner. Rather, it's steered by a quiet, burning mission to grow, to build, to serve a higher purpose. He understands that true fulfillment does not come from being admired, but from becoming. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And so, the Stoic man guards his inner world. He chooses clarity over fantasy, effort over empty hope. His dreams are grounded in action, not daydreams. And he channels his time into what is real, what is useful, what is under his control. His self-reliance is not arrogance, it is integrity. He doesn't depend on others to validate his aspirations. His compass points inward. His trust lies in his ability to navigate, even when the sea is stormy and the destination unclear. While the world clamors for recognition, he builds quietly. While others seek approval, he seeks mastery. This isn't about excluding others, it's about protecting the sacred. The Stoic man welcomes support, but never leans so hard on it that he forgets his own strength. He knows that if a dream matters, it will be carried not by words, but by disciplined action. To the Stoic, a dream shared too soon is a flame exposed to the wind. Better to protect it. Better to let it grow in the dark, in silence, until its light is too strong to be ignored. To feel deeply is not a weakness, but to be ruled by those feelings, that is where the Stoic man draws a line. In a world that often celebrates emotional indulgence as authenticity, the Stoic man takes a different path. He chooses mastery over expression, awareness over impulse, and clarity over chaos. For the Stoic, emotions are not to be feared, nor are they to be suppressed. Instead, they are studied, understood, and refined like fire that, when controlled, can warm and empower, but when unchecked, can destroy. The Stoic man knows that to live a virtuous life, one must be in harmony with reason, and so he does not let his feelings pull him in every direction. He becomes the still point in a spinning world, observing, reflecting, and responding with intention. This is especially true in his relationships. He understands that expressing every feeling without filter can lead not to closeness, but to confusion, imbalance, or even emotional burden for those around him. He does not mask his emotions, he moderates them. With a woman, he chooses to share not from a place of desperation or emotional volatility, but from a place of clarity and strength. What he reveals, he does so deliberately not to be understood, but to build understanding. The Stoic man also recognizes that emotions are powerful teachers. Instead of running from fear, anger, sadness, or even love, he sits with them. He listens, he learns, he asks himself, what does this feeling reveal about my values, my attachments, my expectations? In this quiet dialogue with himself, he becomes more than just reactive flesh. He becomes a conscious, evolving soul. Yet even in his most vulnerable emotional states, the Stoic man remains grounded. He does not collapse under the weight of heartbreak or setback. He does not lash out in blind rage or spiral into despair. These feelings may visit him, but they do not stay because he knows his home is built on inner peace, not emotional chaos. This is not coldness, this is discipline. This is not emotional absence, this is emotional integrity. By mastering his emotions, the Stoic man gains what many chase their entire lives: inner freedom. He is not imprisoned by moods, nor is he manipulated by praise or insult. He walks through storms with the same calm as he does through sunlight. His heart is open, but his mind is steady. And in this rare balance, he finds true power. As Epictetus wisely stated, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. That choice begins with emotion, and for the Stoic man, that choice is sacred. In the end, it's not about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally sovereign. His feelings do not lead him, they inform him. They sharpen his awareness, deepen his relationships, and expand his soul, but only because he leads them, not the other way around. Pain is not a stranger to the Stoic man. He does not deny it, run from it, or disguise it with hollow distractions. Instead, he welcomes pain as an inevitable part of life, a teacher cloaked in discomfort, a sculptor that carves depth into his soul. For the Stoic, pain is not punishment, it is preparation, a call to resilience, a whisper of mortality and meaning. The Stoic man understands that suffering is not exclusive to tragedy. It can live quietly in daily disappointments, unspoken griefs, and private losses. But his strength lies not in showing the world how much he hurts. His strength is in how he bears it, with grace, with silence, with unwavering inner calm. He does not see value in dramatizing his pain, nor does he seek pity or applause for his endurance. The Stoic path teaches that we are not what happens to us, we are how we respond. And so, when life presses its weight upon him, the Stoic man stands taller, not for the world to see, but for himself to grow. In his relationships, especially with a woman, the Stoic man is selective in how he reveals his pain. He knows that vulnerability, when wielded with wisdom, can create deep bonds. But he also knows that unfiltered emotional wounds, when shared prematurely or recklessly, can confuse, burden, or weaken the very trust he wishes to build. So he opens up, but not all at once. He shares but only what is purposeful. His pain, when expressed, is not chaotic. It is refined, considered, and honest. He speaks not to be healed, but to offer insight, not to unload, but to connect. He doesn't ask for rescue, he asks only to be heard. This restraint is not a denial of human need. It is a deep respect for it. He does not place the weight of his healing on someone else's shoulders. That is not love, that is dependence. The Stoic man heals from within. He sees his pain not as a curse to be cured, but as a sacred trial to be endured and understood. In the private silence of his own soul, he faces what others run from: regret, loss, rejection, loneliness. He breathes through them, learns from them, transforms them. He knows that all things external, even pain, are outside his ultimate control. But his interpretation, his attitude, his response, that is where his power lives. As Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The Stoic man meditates on this truth. He watches his mind. He challenges his thoughts. He separates what is real from what is fear-born illusion. This discipline is not detachment, it is enlightenment. For the Stoic, pain is not a life sentence, it is a moment of truth, a furnace that forges character, a mirror that reflects what still needs to be strengthened. In his suffering, he does not crumble, he chisels, slowly, silently, and with dignity. And so while others may wear their wounds on their sleeves, the Stoic man carries his pain like armor, not to shield him from the world, but to remind him of his strength, his humanity, and his path to wisdom. In the quiet chambers of the Stoic mind, pleasure is not rejected, it is refined. The Stoic man does not fear joy, nor does he deny himself the sweetness of life. But he approaches pleasure with the same discipline with which he approaches pain, with mindfulness, moderation, and mastery. For him, true freedom lies not in the endless pursuit of delight, but in the ability to enjoy without being enslaved. Pleasure, in the Stoic worldview, is neither inherently virtuous nor inherently evil. It is indifferent. What matters is how one relates to it. Does he control it or does it control him? Does he pursue it with reason or does he surrender to it blindly? These questions define the Stoic man's ethical compass when it comes to pleasure, particularly in the context of relationships with women and sensual desire. He does not seek pleasure impulsively or consume it thoughtlessly. Instead, he savors it with full awareness of its fleeting nature. He understands that the rush of sensation is temporary, that passions can burn bright and blind, and so he does not chase ecstasy for its own sake. He does not mistake physical gratification for inner fulfillment. For the Stoic man, pleasure is a guest, not a god. He views indulgence without restraint as a silent thief stealing clarity, discipline, and self-respect. Thus, even in his most intimate moments, he remains anchored to his principles. His self-restraint is not repression, but power. It is the quiet strength of a man who chooses when to act and when to abstain. He does not run from desire, but he does not bow to it either. He faces it, honors it, and transcends it. Where others might use relationships as a means to fulfill base cravings or escape inner emptiness, the Stoic man seeks something deeper: harmony, virtue, shared purpose. He does not exploit a woman's affection to gratify his own hunger for validation or temporary comfort. He respects her soul more than he desires her body. He loves through reason, not compulsion, through presence, not possession. His restraint does not make him cold or distant. Quite the opposite, it allows him to love more fully, more sincerely, because his love is not tainted by neediness or lust. It is rooted in admiration, character, and clarity. He desires not just the pleasures of her body, but the peace of knowing. His soul remains intact, his principles unshaken. Pleasures to the Stoic man are gifts to be received with humility, not entitlements to be demanded. Whether it's a moment of intimacy, a glass of wine, a good meal, or a beautiful sunset, he allows himself to enjoy it. But he does not cling to it. He practices gratitude, not greed, presence, not pursuit, and when the pleasure fades, as it always does, he does not despair. He does not mourn its passing or frantically seek its return. He simply breathes, smiles, and moves forward. For he has trained himself to be content with little, to find joy in simplicity, and to see every fleeting joy as a moment of divine grace rather than a need to be fed again. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. For the Stoic man, pleasure, especially the kind that arises from others, is never fully within his control. And so he enjoys it with care, not clinging. He seeks to remain sovereign over himself, unmoved by excess or deprivation. Even in the realm of sensual pleasure, the Stoic man remains a philosopher. He is aware of the slippery slope, how easily indulgence can become addiction, how quickly desire can cloud judgment. So he guards his mind as fiercely as he guards his soul. He disciplines his habits, filters his environment, and practices delayed gratification, not because he is afraid of pleasure, but because he values freedom more. He believes that the man who cannot say no to his pleasures is a slave, no matter how much he appears to have. But the man who can enjoy them without being mastered by them, that man is free. That man is whole. That man is truly alive. And so, in a world that glorifies indulgence, the Stoic man walks another path, a higher one. He enjoys but does not depend. He loves but does not cling. He desires but does not lose himself. In this balance lies his serenity. In this discipline lies his joy. In this moderation lies his greatness. In the silent chambers of the Stoic heart, love is not a storm that sweeps him away. It is a steady flame that warms without consuming. The Stoic man does not fall in love recklessly. He rises into it consciously. He does not drown in emotion, but swims through it with clarity, reason, and grace. Love to the Stoic is a beautiful gift, but it is not a commandment to lose oneself in another. The Stoic man never sacrifices his identity, his integrity, or his independence at the altar of romance. He loves, but he does not cling. He connects, but he does not collapse into the other. He understands that real love is not found in possession, but in mutual respect, shared values, and a deep appreciation of one another's freedom. He knows that love must never compromise virtue. He does not let infatuation override his principles. He remains composed, even in the rush of passion, knowing that emotions like waves rise and fall. He does not fear these waves, but he does not let them steer his ship. The Stoic man does not burden the woman he loves with the weight of his insecurities, his unfulfilled desires, or his emotional chaos. Instead, he offers her his strength, the calm of his presence, the clarity of his mind, and the purity of his intentions. He loves with action more than with words. He proves his affection not through grand declarations, but through quiet consistency, through protection, patience, support, and presence. He understands that to love well, one must first be whole, that no healthy love can arise from emptiness or neediness. That dependency is not devotion, and attachment is not affection. He does not need her to complete him. He chooses her because he is already complete. And when love tests him, as it inevitably does, the Stoic man does not retaliate with bitterness or vengeance. He follows the path of Marcus Aurelius, who wisely said, "The best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer." The Stoic man does not stoop to anger or cruelty when wounded in love. He remains true to his virtue, never allowing pain to poison his character. His love is strong because it is wise. His heart is open, but his mind remains awake. He gives his love freely, but he never surrenders his soul. He knows that in the end, only a love rooted in mutual virtue, dignity, and freedom can endure what a Stoic man must hide from a woman. These are the 8 things a Stoic man hides, not out of deception, cowardice, or manipulation, but out of strength, wisdom, and virtue. These are the sacred boundaries he maintains, not to distance himself from a woman, but to honor both himself and her. To be Stoic is not to be cold. It is not to be emotionless. It is not to retreat from life or love. It is to be honest without oversharing, affectionate without attachment, strong without arrogance, and kind without weakness. It is to be a man, not a boy. It is to lead with calm, not chaos. It is to love with freedom, not fear. And it is to stand always as a fortress of virtue in a world that often worships the fleeting and shallow. By hiding these internal battles, his fears, his uncontrolled desires, his emotional instability, his pride, his overreactions, his pains, his unregulated pleasures, and his unguarded love, the Stoic man does not become less honest. He becomes more authentic. He reveals not his wounds, but his resilience. He reveals not his craving for comfort, but his craving for character. He reveals not his need to be saved, but his ability to save himself. This is the Stoic way of living and the Stoic way of loving. It is not easy, it is not trendy, it is not for the faint of heart, but it is noble, it is powerful, and it is enduring. We are the Stoics. We are the few who walk this harder path because we know that within it lies the truest freedom a man can ever know. If you want to walk this path, if you're ready to reclaim your strength, your virtue, and your purpose, then join us. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment of Stoic wisdom. We'll guide you through the timeless teachings of the ancients and show you how to apply them to modern life so you can become the man you were meant to be. Thank you for watching, and remember, the only thing you need to be happy is yourself.